today about relationships. How many of you have ever had a boyfriend or a girlfriend? Raise your hand high. You may go back all the way to kindergarten. All right, you can go back to kindergarten. All right. Stand up if you've ever had a boyfriend or girlfriend. Stand up right now. All right? Sit down. Sit. I'll tell you when to sit down, but stand up. This is hopeless for the camera. Following directions. Here we go. Stand up if you've ever had a boyfriend or girlfriend. And then I'm going to say a series of statements, gentlemen. Excuse me. Sit down if you have been dating less than 3 months. Sit down. Or, well, if it's a past relationship, think about how long it was. Sit down if you were dating or less than 6 months. You went back up. Sit down if it was less than a year. Alright, so, our 2 finalists. How long?
3 years.
3 years, still 2 years, still dating her? No, it's over. When did it start?
A while ago.
A while ago. First grade, third grade, fifth grade?
6th grade.
6th grade, 2 years.
8th.
To 8th grade. Wow. Very good. Sit down. And?
Almost 2 years, like a year and 10 months.
A year and 10 months?
Yeah, that was recent.
And no longer?
No, he moved to Georgia.
He moved. That is really not healthy for a long distance relationship.
No, it's not.
So did you break up?
Yeah, but we still like talk every night and stuff.
You broke up, but you talk every night?
Yeah, it's like
It's complicated. Have a seat. All right, so the bottom line is someday all of you would like to be, hopefully, in a healthy relationship. How many think that you may be married someday? Raise your hand. All right? How many think you're going to be single all your life? There's no chance. All right, so think about this. All of you want to be married, and I assume that you would like it to be a healthy relationship. So I want to ask you, why is it that you look around and you see so many dysfunctional, unhealthy relationships? You see, I think everybody has this dream. Someday they're going to get married. That's my daughter 6 years ago, and that's my son-in-law Ryan, and they've been married 6 years. That's my wife. That's my very available 25-year-old son who's looking for his future wife, even yea, thus verily, as we speak. He's now a college graduate with a full-time job. He is now an eligible bachelor. But when they got married, it was a pretty cool deal. Because I was praying for her husband, Ryan, from the time she was born. In fact, in the womb, I prayed for Katie. And we started praying before she was born that God would bring that person into her life. And it was the coolest thing when you are a parent and you see your kids get involved in a healthy relationship. It does your heart good. Because before I was a senior pastor, I was a youth pastor for a long time and then a family pastor. And I've seen a lot of dysfunctional, broken relationships. And in fact, that was one of my prayers for my daughter and for my son, is that they would meet people who came from good family backgrounds so that they would be involved and have a background in healthy relationships. One of the stories I like to tell about the two of them is when he proposed to her. You see, one of the things that was awesome was that he asked me ahead of time. And guys, the right way to do it is, once you know you want to marry the girl, go and take Dad out for coffee. So he called me, his voice cracked like he was going through puberty. Mr. Irwin, I'd like to go for coffee. I would like to go for coffee. I knew it was coming. And I said, should Katie come? He goes, oh no. I said, oh, okay. So we met at a place called Javakai, and we had coffee. And he said, Mr. Irwin, I'd like to ask your daughter for her hand in marriage. I've been seeing her now for a year, as you know. And by the way, he asked permission to date her. And actually, when he asked to date her, he used these words. Mr. Irwin, I don't really want to date. I would like to court your daughter. Now that is a buzzword for I am seriously wanting to pursue your daughter as a future marriage partner. That's what the word court means. And so when he said that, I went, court? You know, like 20, she's 19, she's young for that. By the way, when I got married, I was 22. My wife was 19, so I had no leg to stand on like she's too young. She was in college. By the way, I met my wife when she was 14. I was 16. She was a freshman, I was a junior. That's a story for another time. So the bottom line, he said, I'd like to ask her to marry me. And I said, well, that's cool. When do you want to do it? He goes, well, I have a plan. Now, as a former youth pastor, I'm going, I love it. And he says, it involves a bit of deception. I said, you're going to start off your married life on a lie? Kinda. I said, tell me more. And so we were going to go to Hawaii that summer after they graduated from Biola University. This was their senior year. Actually, this was their junior year. And so we were going to go to after their senior year. And so he said, I know you're going to Hawaii. Could I propose to her while you're on family vacation? I said, I like this. He said, but let's tell her that I can't go on the trip. He comes from a family of 8 kids. He says, let's tell Katie that I'm taking the boys are the younger brothers, on a camping trip because this will be our last summer together, probably because I'll be moving out of the house, etc., etc. So we'll make her think that I can't go. And I said, oh, she'll be very sad. He goes, exactly. But I'll actually fly there and propose to her. I said, I love it. So this is a plan we concocted in April. That summer, that July, we're going to Hawaii. He actually flies there the day before to set up for what he's about to do. To make her think that she's going that he's going on vacation with his brothers, he shows up at the house the day before in the van with the tents, with the lantern, with the Coleman stove, and even a triptych all the way up the coast. As my daughter with the event, well, show me what's the route you're taking because she's very organized. Had the whole thing mapped out, a total lie. The bottom line was the boys were just taking him to the airport so he could get there a day early. So it's all set. He arrives and he's going to propose to her at the Hula Grill in Maui. Now the Hula Grill is an awesome restaurant. You've been, you know the thing is, I say that at this school, oh yeah, been there, done that. You know, I go to some school in West Covina, where's the Hula Grill? Anyway, the bottom line is you've been there because you have ski week. If it's ski week, what are you doing in Hawaii? That's a whole other story. So the bottom line is that the Hula Grill, there's 400 people that can be seated in the restaurant. It's an outdoor restaurant. He's made arrangements with the manager to propose to her on stage because they have live music. The band goes off the stage and then he's going to get up and sing to her. Now she has no idea he's there. So we're sitting down at our restaurant. They had saved the table for us. Now get this, the manager knows, everybody on the wait staff knows that this kid's going to ask this girl to marry him. So we show up and I just say, Irwin party of 4. They know, smiling, and my daughter's surprised that we're in like the best table in the whole world because it's right by the stage. What she doesn't notice is a little bit into the appetizers that my wife has disappeared. That's because she's getting the video camera ready to film this. The band goes off. We're not paying attention to the band. My son, John Daniel, says, hey, Katie, there's a new guy on stage. Let's dance. She goes, loser, brother. No. Come on, Katie. And he does this. He goes and pulls her out of the chair and onto the dance floor. He spins around as Ryan's playing this Daniel Bedingfield song, If You're Not the One. She spins around, she sees him, and you can see her little mind going like, what are you doing here? She's thinking, you're supposed to be on a camping trip. She has not figured out what's about to go on. He then called, and she's standing there with John Daniel. John Daniel kind of pushes her towards the stage. At this point,
Who's John Daniel?
That's my son.
Oh, okay.
That's Katie. That's who proposed to her. So he pushes her on the stage. Ryan's playing the guitar, singing to her, and you can see her mind spinning. Now she's a firstborn. She's a by-the-book girl. So she's thinking, you're not where you're supposed to be. I wonder what you're doing here. And you can see her mind going like, and she has not, she's totally clueless. My wife's filming, you can begin to hear her. She's beginning to cry because this is such a romantic moment. Now, there's like 400 people in the restaurant. They all stop. People are talking. The waiter's going, shh. And they're shushing people all over like, be quiet. And they're like, what? And they're like pointing to the stage. He gets done with the song. And as my wife films this, he kneels down. He looks her in the eye and says, Katie, you're the first girl I ever kissed, and you will be the last. Will you be my wife? Of course, every girl in the audience goes, oh, that's so nice. Every guy's going, dang, this guy's good. That's a hard act to follow. On the tape, here's my wife. Here's what's going on. My baby! She's crying over the whole thing. It's awesome. And he proposed to her. And that's when it works great. That is when your prayers as a parent are answered. But I want to tell you that that story just didn't happen by accident. Both set of parents wanted our kids to meet someone that they could be married to for a lifetime. Now my daughter comes from a family where we've been married for 34 years. But her grandparents were divorced, her grandparents were divorced. And so I want to ask you today, why is it that couples, people your age, get trapped in an unhealthy, dependent relationship? Well, I believe it's because they haven't recognized the danger signs. So number one, on your notes, danger sign number one, write them down. They've confused infatuation and true love. Infatuation and true love. Now, I've given you a list of things that relate to infatuation, all right? And very quickly, I want to just give you some of the differences. You can see them on your sheet. Let's see what you can come up with. Look at the characteristics of infatuation or romantic love versus biblical or true love. What are some of the differences that just stand out to you? And let's see how many of you can come up with. They're already listed. What do you think? What are some of the differences? What do you think? Look at the list, read both columns. What are some of the differences? What seems obvious?
What attracts the most?
Yeah, what are they attracted to most? It's physical, isn't it? It's physical attraction versus total personality. If you have a highlighter pen, you know, to circle or highlight those differences as you go down through the checklist ticker. All right, what's another thing? What's another thing? Think about how long it takes to get involved. What's the difference? Time. Look at this one. It moves fast. Versus real love takes time. Infatuation is like a microwave oven. True love is like a crock pot. It takes time to cook and to really develop. You like that one, huh? I came up with that one. That's pretty good, huh? Number 3, idealistic versus realistic. All right? When you have this idealized view of a relationship, you're not very realistic about things. Number 4, few people approve versus, you know, people generally approve of the relationship. Why would someone in your life who loves you, like your folks or best friends, think that maybe this isn't the best relationship for you? Well, it often has some other negative baggage attached to it. We'll look at that in a little bit. Here's another one. See if you can find that in there. Fighting versus being able to handle conflicts and working through it. All right? Now, before you meet the actual person you're going to marry, psychologists tell us that you may fall in love 6 different times. Now, that's a lot of going through relationships. Really? You fall in love 6 times and fall out of love? Now, those of you who have dated for any length of time, we found out that you guys kind of broke up because of a geographic distance, right? Had he still been here, you might still be dating, all right? What are some of the other reasons why you broke up? Back here in front row, why did you guys break up?
We changed as people.
Yeah, you just changed as people. You grew apart. My goodness, you were in 6th grade, now you're in 8th grade. You're a man, she's still just a child. Girls, you're supposed to go. No.
Ben, were you older than her?
Were you older?
I didn't ask.
You didn't ask. Were you in the same grade? Oh, so probably within 6 months. All right. Why else did you break up? Anybody else? Somebody who was in a relationship. Why did you break up? Nobody wants to say. All right. You were in 3rd grade. Okay. All right. So, by anybody dating someone right now, you're actually got a boyfriend. You do?
Kind of.
Kind of. He's not in Georgia though.
No.
No, new guy.
Oh, he's here.
Kind of.
Is he in this room?
No.
Does he know that you like him?
Yes.
Oh, okay. See, there's always guys who go, yeah, I got a girlfriend. And I always ask, does she know? Well, not yet. In my mind. Are you dating someone?
Kind of.
Kind of. What does that mean? You're defining the relationship?
It's not official.
It's not official. What will make it official?
I'm not sure.
See, here's the bottom line. We don't even know if we're dating someone, so we're involved with them, but we don't know if it's official because we haven't had the DTR, define the relationship talk, right? Next, taking versus giving. Often in infatuation, you're a taker, not a giver. And then you consume versus care. And all these things are listed in there, and you can see the differences, but I'm just summarizing them for you. Danger sign number 2 is conditional versus unconditional love. Do you love somebody no matter what? Or is it based on something that could or could not stay the same? So I'm going to give you 3 statements. I want you to tell me whether they're conditional or unconditional. In other words, is there a string attached or no matter what? First statement, do you think this is conditional or unconditional? I love you because. Is that conditional or unconditional? It's conditional. I only love you because, let's fill in the blank. I love you because
You make good sandwiches.
you make good sandwiches. Now, so far, every time a guy has brought up food, it's all about the food for the guys. By the way, check this out. My wife is a very good cook, let me tell you. Woo! I love you because of the food. What else? Ladies, right here in the second row. I love you because? Because you're nice. I love you because?
Hot dog.
I love you. Now, the guys are finally honest. I love you because you are smoking hot, right? And they'll admit that, all right? Georgie, I love you because?
Your parents are very...
Come on, Georgie.
Because you're nice.
Because you're nice.
Because you're nice. Those are nice answers. But we have our list of reasons why we love someone. Look at the next one. I love you if. Is that conditional or unconditional? Totally conditional. Now, honestly, give me some honest answers. I'll love you if what? You, go ahead. If you love me. I'll love you if you love me. We'll be a big, happy family. Sounds like a song. The little purple guy running around. All right. I love you if you love me. What else? In the front row. I love you if... You're up next. Whoever goes first. If you provide for me. Very good. I'll love you if you...
Sleep with me.
There we go. Thank you. Thank you. I knew most girls would never say that. But the guys, it's always on their mind. That little 3-letter word is always just bobbing around. And like, if you'll sleep with me, if you'll sex with me, if you'll kiss me, if you'll make out with me. Now the crazy thing is some of you don't even have a boyfriend or girlfriend, but you're making out with people. We'll get to that when we get to number 4 here on danger signs. So I love you because, I love you if. What's this one? I love you in spite of. That is unconditional.
That's what I meant.
And in 1 Corinthians 13, which is your assignment tonight, you'll look at what real love is, biblical love is. Love is patient, love is kind, etc. I'll love you in spite of. You know when I saw that kind of love? I'll tell you. When my dad got Alzheimer's and my mom, who'd been married, they'd been married 50 years, had to care for him the last 6 years of his life. Friends, that is I love you in spite of. She loved him in spite of the fact that he didn't know her name for a while. She loved him in spite of the fact that he wanted the same exact food every day the last 3 years of his life. He wanted a cup of coffee and a muffin for breakfast. He wanted a half a tuna sandwich for lunch. And for some unknown reason, he wanted a chili relleno from Don Jose's Mexican restaurant for dinner. For 2+ years. It was unbelievable. In fact, she bought chili rellenos, and the wait staff at Don Jose's felt so bad for my mom. They practically started giving them away for her, and they would make them in trays that she could take home and freeze and then warm up for them. But I'll tell you what real love is. That's just an example of my parents. How about the couple whose wife's in a car accident and she's now brain dead? and he's 32 years old. And he cares for her for the next 17 years before she dies. That's I love you in spite of. You say, dang, if I get married and something bad happens, does that mean I'm stuck for the rest of my life? You see, when you love someone in spite of, the adversities of life are not about I'm stuck in this relationship. It's I love you no matter what. I've been married 34 years. I met her when she was 14. I was 16. She was a freshman. I was a junior. And yes, guys, she was smoking hot. My initial attraction to my wife was because she was cute. She was beautiful. But we were too young. We dated through high school and we realized, man, if we don't cool our jets, we're going to get up into some serious physical trouble. And so we broke up when we got into college. Plus, because when you're a freshman in college, it's just not cool to date a girl who's a junior in high school. But once she got into college, we started dating again, and 1 year later, 2 months after I graduated from VID00004 University, we got married. We've been married 34 years. She's still the love of my life. Yes? What?
Son go to, is that where he went to college, your son?
Say what?
Viola.
Oh, when did they meet? They met at Biola. They met in college.
I was like, wait, so you went there too?
I went to Biola too, yeah. And her grandparents went to Biola, 3 generations. So the bottom line is, you know, my daughter and son-in-law, I didn't have a whole lot of room to stand on when she's 21, he's 22, and they want to get married. Because my wife was 19, not even 20 when we got married. She was finishing her sophomore year of college, and I just finished college. And so the bottom line is, when you meet the right person, it takes time to cultivate that relationship. So those are danger sign number 2. Danger sign number 3 is unhealthy dependence versus independence. Unhealthy dependence versus independence. And I'm not going to have you break into groups today like I said I was. I just want you to look at some things. When you are in an unhealthy dependent relationship, you see it out there on the quad. You see couples who are just all over each other. So let me just give you some of the characteristics of couples who are not good for each other. Before I give you mine, just raise your hand and tell me, what does an unhealthy dependent relationship look like? What do you think? What do they look like? Yes?
They're always together.
They're always together. Let's see if that's on my survey. Lost without you. Let's put that one down. Lost without you. Always have to be together. What else? What do they like? Yes?
Sex.
Sex. Let's see if that's on there. It is, but it's not that one. Other friendships suffer. And number 3, you can put down sex. They're just total public displays of affection. Alright? Give me another one. Unhealthy dependent relationship. What else? Last hour they were like clairvoyant. They got the first 3 right out of the chute.
Grades and stuff.
Huh?
Grades could possibly suffer.
Yeah, grades suffer. That's on the list at the bottom. Mad jealousy though. Alright? Mad jealousy. And their grades go down, like all their other commitments fall apart. What else? What else goes on?
Abuse.
There can be abuse, yeah. What else? Unhealthy dependent relationship. Do you think they get along all the time?
Fighting.
Oh, they're fighting all the time. Yeah. There's a loss of independence in decision making. They can't make any decision without checking with the other person. Guys, maybe you've seen this. She's got him wrapped around her little finger, right? You've heard that phrase? You know, I gotta check with Belinda. I'm not sure I can. You know, Jesse says no. Really? Okay. Excessive PDA we've already looked at. Distracted. That's the grades going down. All right. By the way, I had a 4.0 going into my junior year when I met my now wife Cheryl. I got a B in Spanish because I met mi amor. Right? So my dad was like, what's up with this B business? You know, you're an A student. And some of you have that pressure from your parents too. You want to get good grades, get into the right college, get the good job, to have the right house, to have the nice kids, and you live the dream of Westlake or Lake Sherwood or you're really slumming it, you live in Agoura Hills. And then if it's really bad, you live in Simi. No, I'm just whoa! You know, you guys all knew where the Hula Grill was, so whatever. So there you go. Constant conflict. And totally enmeshed. Now, I want to tell you a story of the most unhealthy dependent relationship I ever was involved in. Her name was Heidi, his name was Eric. Parents were on a 2-week cruise, and so back in the day we were youth pastors, we used to house sit. House sitting was code for keep an eye on the kids so they don't burn the house down, right? Eric was an only child, or no, he had an older brother who was off to college. So Eric's routine was back in the day before cell phones, texting, and all that, he's just on the house phone. He gets home at 4 o'clock, he's on that phone to Heidi. Dinner is at 6, he's on the phone. He misses dinner. It's 8 o'clock, he's still on the phone. I mean, 4 hours he's on the phone. I said, Eric, don't you have homework? Oh, I'll get it done. It's 10 o'clock, I'm going to bed. Eric's still on the phone. And the guy was on the phone for 6 hours. I can't possibly fathom what in the world you can talk about for 6 hours. Maybe they're watching a movie together. I have no idea. Alright? So I go to bed. I go to wake him up in the morning.
And he's still talking.
He is sound asleep and the phone is on the pillow. I go over there like to wake him up, but as I go to hang up the phone, it's obvious that they fell asleep talking on the phone, and she's the morning wake-up call. And I hear, Eric! I must have come in at the perfect time. Eric, time to get up, Eric! You know, it's just like, you know. So, I'm their youth pastor, right? I can't resist. This is just too good. I pick up the phone. Eric can't come to the phone right now. He's sound asleep. Apparently he was up all night talking to you! Click! It's Wednesday night Bible study. Oh. I'm the youth pastor you hate. So the bottom line is we're doing announcements. And I ask everybody in the group there, hey, how many were up late last night? We do this. I was up past 11, up past 12. I see Eric slinking down in his chair. I see Heidi turning 3 shades of red. I said, all I got to say about staying up too late is this. Eric, time to get up, Eric. The whole rest of it goes, what? I go, inside joke. She is like 9 shades of red. Eric, by the way, had a good sense of humor. He thinks that's funny. He goes, dude, that's right. You know, I go, what? He says, I'll tell you later. I found out this was a regular occurrence. They would go to bed at night on the phone. That's a whacked relationship. Like, come on, you need to have some space.
What the heck?
Now, the bottom line was, I didn't know how whacked it was.
What?
How whacked out it was until the summer of 1984. When she got pregnant. Actually, that winter. And the reason I'll never forget is that she gave birth 2 weeks to their son before my daughter Katie was born. That summer of 1984. You see, that kind of unhealthy, dependent relationship almost always goes physical. Almost always goes physical. Now, I got to ask you, why in the world does someone stay in that kind of relationship even though they know it's not good for them? Let's look at the causes. Why do you think people would stay in that kind of unhealthy, dependent relationship? What do you think? Any ideas? Yes, sir.
They don't know it's unhealthy.
They don't know that it's messed up? Okay. What else?
The examples they have at home.
Maybe they don't have a good example at home. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For like saying they're in a relationship, like bragging rights on them.
Like maybe bragging rights. Okay. Yeah, I think all those are good answers. I think at the core is that they have a poor self-image. There's an issue saying, hey, I am not comfortable in who I am by myself. I've got to have somebody else. They're insecure. You got to ask yourself, what is this worth? All right. Next, past abusive relationships. All right. And catch this phrase: the fear of not finding someone else. They'd rather be in a bad relationship than no relationship. All right. The fear of not finding someone else. Yes, sir.
I only got 8 of the danger signs.
Mm-hmm.
There
The
were
other
8.
10. Or are there only 8?
There's 9.
Oh, you can, usually we brainstorm, and people come with more, and that's why I give them a little extra space.
Oh.
All right? Poor self-image, past abusive relationships, dysfunctional family. How many of you think, and this is not on the tape, well, no one will know this, just how many of you think you come from kind of a dysfunctional family? Okay? Now, just tell me why you think it's dysfunctional. What about your relationship you think, it's not good? Why is it?
Divorce.
Okay, divorce. How many of you come from a divorced home? Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in this room. 5 out of what, 15? 30%. 6. Okay? Why else? Why does it feel dysfunctional? If you're willing to share. Anybody? Yeah.
Death of a parent.
Death of a parent. So that's hard. You're being raised by a single parent.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. What else? What makes a relationship or a family dysfunctional? Some of you, I'll be filling the blanks because you're afraid to say some of this. Because for some of you, you live in violence in your home. And someone has just a crazy bad temper. Some of you, it's because of drug and alcohol abuse in your family. Some of it's because of personal favoritism. Some of it is, get this, because there's so much money in your home that your parents may have mistaken that money will buy those things for you that they can't provide for you, which is, there's no price tag on it. I didn't grow up in a really rich home, to be quite frank with you. By the world standards, by the way, we're all rich. But, you know, you live in a pressure cooker here. Just look at the cars in the parking lot here. Look at the image that some of you are trying to live up to. Look at what people value in this area. And it's money, it's power, it's having all the toys, living in the big house, making the big bucks, having all the right things. And I'm telling you, that doesn't ever cut it. When in the basics of your family, if there's not love and trust and support and respect and communication. And I hope that if you're in a situation that isn't healthy, that you would take the time to talk to Mrs. H or talk to someone when life doesn't seem like it makes sense. Because otherwise you end up dealing with what my friend Vince spoke on a few weeks ago. You get depressed and you see suicide as a coping mechanism. I say all that because by definition, we all come from dysfunctional families. Because as Christians, if you believe in the Christian worldview, we're all born with what?
Sin.
A sin nature. That's right. So at some level, we're all dysfunctional. Then lastly, there's just immaturity. Some people grow out of those kind of unhealthy dependent relationships. And in fact, you look back and go, what in the world did I think I was doing? Is it really done? Are we done?
34.
9:34. Oh, it's 25. I can read the clock. I got a college education. Very good. All right. Number 4. Danger sign number 4 is confusing sex with intimacy. Confusing sex with intimacy. Now, here's the bottom line. True or false? Sex equals intercourse. Are there sexual behaviors that don't involve intercourse?
True.
Yeah.
Does the Bible condemn sexual intercourse?
No.
No. What does it condemn?
Before marriage.
Before marriage, having sex. What about kissing someone before marriage? Does the Bible speak to that? No. Do you think there was kissing in the Bible?
Yeah.
Of course there was. Is there any description of kissing in the Bible? Where would you find it? Where do we practice it? Where do we learn it? You say, really? Check out Song of Solomon. And it'll describe a loving relationship. Now the problem is, for some of you, you're in a highly sexualized relationship, or maybe you've been in one. Now let me explain something. You don't have to be having intercourse to really mess up a relationship. Here's my little rule of thumb for you. If you are doing anything more than kissing, you're probably going to end up out of bounds in a future relationship. And your chances of being a virgin when you get married are going to be severely compromised. You say, why? Think about this. How many of you know someone who has a relationship that would be defined as friends with benefits? Anybody know anybody like that? Now look around the room. Nearly everybody in this room knows somebody, somewhere in their life, that is hooking up with someone else, and they may or may not be boyfriend and girlfriend, but they're making out. And I'll let you define making out however you want. But I'm sure that when they started, it only involved kissing, and it progressed far beyond that. Now, you say, if I want to be a virgin when I get married, then you have to ask yourself, what is worth saving for marriage? And the problem with the church and youth groups all over the country is that they only talk to you about not having sex. I want to suggest to you that you do something much more radical. And maybe we can put this on the screen. I'm going to walk over here. And I want to suggest that you have this. All right? You have marriage. You have engagement. You have, what do you want to call when you're actually your boyfriend or girlfriend and you're dating exclusively? What do you call that?
Girlfriend.
Dating, but it's exclusive, right? Couple. You're coupled up. Steady. That was my era, so I wasn't just sure it was. And this is the. Could you throw me another food? Okay. Steady. Very good. What's this called? There are two more. This is acquaintances, and this is just friendships. All right? So, here's the bottom line. You got to set your standards like this. I'm going to save sexual intercourse for marriage. I'm going to leave all kinds of petting, and this is above and below the waist, for marriage. Let's go back from that. If there's no petting, there's no sex. Let's say this. I'm saving oral sex for marriage. You're going, in a Christian school. Yeah, it happens. All right? Oral sex, sexual intercourse, petting up above and below, clothes on, clothes off. I mean, all that you say you want to save for marriage. What would you say, and if there is true that in each area of your relationship there's progressive physical counterparts. In other words, there's a progression physically. Then work backwards and say, then what would you save for engagement? If that's all saved for marriage. Now, here's what some of you are going, heck no, I'm not saving all that for marriage. I'm moving some of that stuff over here. In fact, some of you are moving it all the way over to here. You say, no. Yeah. This is friends with benefits. FWB. And you know what they say for friends with benefits? They're doing that. Now, we haven't talked about it. What would you save for engagement? Well, I'd say between all this, it's French kissing, right? You say, okay, I can save that for engagement. Most of you have put your tongue in somebody's mouth way back over here. I'm sorry to say you've been playing tonsil hockey since you were 14. All right? If you're getting a little nervous about this conversation, I'm just telling you what's going on. Now, some of you, rare numbers of you in this room, have never been kissed. Ryan never kissed another girl but my daughter. You say, dude, was he just like weird? What's wrong with him? No sex drive? Oh, let me tell you. They're having our first grandchild. I know he has a sex drive. All right? By the way, my first grandchild, 2 weeks. Woohoo! All right. I hope they give us a lot of kids. And I hope they combat left-handed and right-handed, play football, basketball. It's going to be my retirement. Anyway, so you say French kissing. So the question is, I'm going to save kissing for when I actually date. Now here's the problem. If this is what you're doing in dating, and you start kissing someone when you're 15, and let's say you're not getting married till you're 26, and you're 15 over here, that's 11 years of just kissing. Kissing on the ear, kissing on the cheek, kissing on the forehead. That gets old real quick. And you can see why people progress down this physical pattern, because it doesn't satisfy anymore. It's called the law of diminishing returns. And so what happens is, if you're doing this way back over here, and all of this is supposed to be for marriage, is there any wonder why no one's making it to marriage? It's not surprising. It's a law. It's going to happen. So you want to be a virgin? I'll tell you the best way to remain a virgin as we move the camera. Here's how you'll remain a virgin. Prolong making your first kiss as long as possible. You go, serious, dude? Are you serious? I'm serious. And we're almost out of time, so I'll end with this. Ladies, look me in the eye. How many times do you think I've had a girl come to my class or to my office? I gotta finish that. Okay. In tears over something. What do you think? Does it happen very often? More than you think. Why are they there? Because they got pregnant, or they got an STD, or whatnot. Here's the truth. I've never met a girl who regretted what she didn't do with a guy. But I can tell you dozens of girls who came to see me regretting the rest of their life what they did do. Now, we got to wrap up because it's on the test. Bottom line is, this was a very cool thing. Too bad you didn't get to do it. Skip all the facts. And here's the bottom line. Three-sided triangle. Intimacy involves these three things. Commitment, communication, companionship. Okay? That's what intimacy is based on. Alright? Now, bottom line. In your assignment, you're going to study what true love is from 1 Corinthians 13. It's called the ABCs of love. Alright? You're going to finish our outline as we wrap up today. Alright? Commitment, communication, companionship. There you go. ABCs of love. We're at the very end of your outline. Down here now. Right here. Alright? First one is A. What is real love? I what? You just as you are?
I love you.
It begins with A.
I adore. I accept you.
I accept you just as you are. Alright? I accept you just as you are. B. I what? I believe that you are valuable. Very good. C. I care. Or if you're an emotional person, I
want.
Cry. Want? A, B, C.
Demand.
Alright, D. I what?
Demand.
Desire.
I desire.
Dick is on a roll.
I desire the best for you. And E.
Exempt.
I erase.
I erase all offenses. And we had a sixth one. F. I forgive. Some of you are going, what? I forgive. All right. Hey, you guys have been a great class. Thank you for being here today. Take care.
Thank you. You're in chapel.
Yeah, something over there.
So, Georgie, that was not too bad, right? I didn't pick on you. I only used your name out loud once.